To safeguard the hotel in Rotherham housing asylum seekers, their Assistant Chief Constable told the people involved in what he called the outright acts of violence and thuggery, "We are coming for you." A list is circulating on social media detailing more than 30 places across the country where more violence is allegedly being planned. Police sources have told the BBC 6,000 officers will be available to respond to any disorder in the coming days. We did ask the government to come on and talk about this tonight, but they declined. I'm joined by Shauna Roberts, manager of Merseyside Refugee Support Network, which was yesterday forced to close its doors after they were made aware of far-right threats against their building. Despite that, she's agreed to talk to us this evening. Shauna, thank you so much for coming on Newsnight. Just fill us in first. How did you find out that your centre is potentially going to be targeted tomorrow?
Well, Sunday evening, quite late on, we got some messages through from colleagues across the local refugee and asylum support networks saying that they'd had information that had come from the far right through infiltration that we were on a hit list for an attack on tomorrow night.
How?
It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry to interrupt, I was just going to say, how did you feel when you first heard that, and how are you feeling about it now? It's quite a lot to process, I imagine.
Yeah, scared. I think the fire-shaped emojis didn't help, but having worked in the sector for well over 25 years, luckily we have people that we could contact on Monday night or Sunday night. So we contacted the police straight away, we contacted the local authority, and then we had to sort of come together because we're in a centre with another charity, Asylum Link. We work together on so many projects, but we've come together to protect our service users and also to protect the building and the community around us.
And when it came to those messages, are you saying there was more than one message and that they contained fire emojis suggesting that your place was going to be burned down? Is that how you read them?
That was my immediate impression. And during the evening, then other colleagues and friends, there were very different variations of them, and as a result of that, other people got in touch with us. So yeah, it's unpleasant, and just it's threatening people and scaring people is not the answer. We've got to find some way to create a dialogue to move this forward, because the UK has been part of the Geneva Conventions since after the Second World War, and we need to meet our commitments. We're one of the I think the sixth richest country in the world. What on earth are we doing castigating people that have had to flee torture and trauma, sexual violence or whatever else that they've escaped from? And this country needs to really sort itself out.
And Shauna Roberts, sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to play you. Keir Starmer, after the Cobra meeting, the emergency meeting this evening, has been speaking. I just wanted to play you a little bit of that.
They will be safe. We're doing everything we can to ensure that where a police response is needed, it's in place. Where support is needed for particular places, that is in space. Obviously, it's a difficult situation with disorder going on in a number of different places at the same time, but that is precisely why I held my second Cobra meeting today, to coordinate the response and to get the assurance that I want and need that we do have adequate police in place, that we are able to cope with this disorder.
That was the Prime Minister. He'd been asked what message he had for people who feel under threat. I wonder, Shauna Roberts, listening to that, whether you feel reassured.
In part, yes, because we've actually had an amazing response from Merseyside Police this week, and from the local authority and from the fire service, and we've had an amazing bunch of volunteers that have come down to help us. We've had to close our centre for the protection of our service users. Some are waiting for a decision on their asylum claim from Asylum Link colleagues, and we work with people once they've got their leave to remain and helping them move on. But we've had to close the centre so that we can get the messages out in the key languages, and we wanted also to make sure that the people in our local community where we are also felt reassured by the police presence. So I hope it comes to pass that we get that help on if anything horrific happens.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. What is your plan?
We stand divided. We stand united.
Apologies for interrupting. I just wondered what your plan is for tomorrow. Do you plan to stay home and keep it sharp? What's your intention?
Well, the centre remains shut to service users and visitors. We will have a presence there until we feel it's safe to leave, and we will also be creating, I suppose, what I would call a peace line, for want of a better expression, so that we and the local community and the priest from the local church, which is part of our building, that we can all come together to demonstrate that we believe that we should have hope in the future rather than putting up with hate. And if we can create dialogue with perpetrators to at least change some hearts and minds, that will be a step forward. But we need to be able to carry on our work, so some people are working from home and remotely, just like we had to do during COVID. But yeah, it's really important for the community of Liverpool to stick together. We're a brilliant city of sanctuary. There's so many people that have sent us messages of support, not only locally. I mean, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of messages, as well as from across the UK. So we will hopefully get through this without some shocking violence tomorrow night.
Shauna Roberts,
we don't know.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say that's very reassuring. Thank you so much for coming on Newsnight, and do please stay safe and keep your community safe. Thank you very, very much. I'd like to turn to our panel though.